You're with ET now. This is the India Development Debate, the only show on Indian News TV that puts the spotlight on development issues. I'm Sandeep Gurumurthy, joining you from the News Centre in Mumbai. Joining me in Delhi is my colleague and co-anchor Supriya Srinath. Straight to the big debate tonight, then call it Aman ki Asha. Days after former cricketer Imran Khan was sworn in as the new Prime Minister of Pakistan, Prime Minister Modi has extended an olive branch, conveying New Delhi's commitment to pursue meaningful and constructive engagement with Islamabad. In his congratulatory letter to the Pakistani Prime Minister, Modi also emphasized the need to work together for a terror-free South Asia. On his part, Imran has said dialogue is the only way to resolve differences between the two countries, including on the issue of Kashmir. The newly elected Prime Minister says resumption of bilateral trade will help alleviate poverty and lead to upliftment of people in the entire subcontinent region.
Indeed, the peace gestures by the two leaders come amidst frosty relations between India and our neighbours in Pakistan. Much water, of course, has flown ever since Modi's surprise stopover to congratulate Nawaz Sharif in Lahore on his birthday in December 2015, the first Pak visit by an Indian Prime Minister in over a decade. A series of cross-border attacks followed, leading to the surgical strike by India. And the relations are nothing but cordial ever since, in fact, very conspicuously silent, many would say. Experts warn that any peace move could be futile if it doesn't have the blessings of the Pakistan army. Everyone wants peace between India and Pakistan, but where does one begin from? And what are the big risks that are being posed before that peace process? We're discussing today on the India Development Debate exactly those questions, and joining us is a stellar panel right here on ET Now. Kanwal Sibal, former diplomat and former Foreign Secretary, Maruf Raza, consultant and strategic affairs expert, Meher Tarar, columnist and author, making a debut on the India Development Debate this evening from across the border, Vijay Chaudhawale, head department of foreign affairs for the BJP, and Rohan Gupta represents the Congress party here. Thank you very, very much, each one of you, for being with us. Mr. Vijay, I will start with you. What is really the BJP's position on giving a fresh lease of life to Indo-Pak relations? Why has your party needlessly politicized an innocuous visit by Navjot Singh Sidhu? Hugging the Pak army chief may not make for great optics, but how does politicizing the issue help? Because your Prime Minister, in fact, our Prime Minister has gone ahead and hugged his counterparts before. Nawaz Sharif was invited for his swearing-in ceremony. Mr. Vajpayee had gone with a piece of virtue. What is the big deal about Navjot Singh Sidhu? And he couldn't have gone without the blessings of the MEA. Why are you politicizing this issue?
I guess the adjective needless is needless, and in fact it is very much on the agenda of BJP, and BJP is right to give objections, make objections to this visit for several reasons. You should also ask Mr. Captain Amarinder Singh why he has opposed the visit of Navjot Sidhu, and why Congress is talking in two different voices, most probably deliberately, on this issue, so as to create confusion among Indian mind. There was no official blessing, so as to say, from MEA. That also I would like to make clear. They have just said, okay, if you go, we don't mind. It doesn't mean that they have blessed the visit, or Mr. Navjot Sidhu has taken any official briefing from MEA. So you are trying to pull lot of loose dots and trying to make a story which is not correct. Sidhu is trying to settle make some political score, and therefore, as our spokesperson Mr. Samvit Patra has today very clearly said, that there is a politics behind it. They are playing the political game. Congress itself is not sure what is their stand on India-Pak relations, as well as towards Navjot Singh Sidhu's visit. So it is for them to clear what they would like to give a message by his visit.
Okay, I take that point, Vijay Chaudhawale, and I take your point of the fact that the Congress party needs to clear its stand as well, because we are seeing double speak across the political spectrum. But Rohan Gupta, what is the Congress party's view on this? Are you backing Sidhu or not? I mean, today we've had the Prime Minister of Pakistan call him an ambassador of peace. What is the Congress party's view? Because Captain Amarinder Singh, as pointed out by Vijay Chaudhawale, has made it very clear that he does not approve of this, Sidhu's jhappi politics, if we may call it. So what is the Congress party's view?
See, first of all, it's very unfortunate on part of BJP spokesperson to talk like a person who is in opposition party. Come on, they are in government for last 4.5 years. They came to power with vision, with the promise of showing Lal Aankh to Pakistan, 56 inch to Pakistan. Where is it? It's not there. The only thing they can do is to question Congress. Congress party has made it very clear. He went on a personal visit, and when Mr. Amrinder Singh has clarified the issue, there is no discussion left. The whole issue is what? It is about Pakistan's relationship with India. This government has no India-Pakistan policy. It's a flip-flop policy. BJP has always used their vote bank policy in place of Pakistan policy. They will talk about Pakistan in public rallies in India to garner votes. And when it comes to taking action, their Prime Minister will write love letter to Mr. Imran Khan. Why that letter is not made public? Number one. Number two, why is going and meeting Nawaz Sharif and eating biryani there? Why ISI is invited in India and given the certificate of satisfactory explanation?
1 second, Rohan Gupta.
See, these are all flip-flop by BJP.
Rohan Gupta,
4.5 years, when you are voted to power,
1 second.
you have to answer the country
1 second.
what you have done to Pakistan.
Okay.
You haven't done anything.
No.
You haven't done anything.
I am sorry. Rohan Gupta, I am sorry. 1 second. Rohan Gupta, I am sorry there because you haven't answered the moot question. Are you for Navjot Singh Sidhu going there? Are you against him going there? Because as independent journalists, I don't think there's anything wrong with Navjot Singh Sidhu going there. Frankly, you are not saying that. Your chief minister is saying something else. No, sorry. Your chief minister is saying something else. You are saying the exact opposite. So let's not cross the line there. And I don't think you should make 1 second, Mr. Rohan Gupta. You don't need to make personal comments about the Prime Minister having biryani there. Don't get down to that level. This is not the debate where we stoop so low and do the discussion. Don't outshout me and don't out-talk me on my show. No, I'm sorry. Hold that thought now.
I am answering.
No, I'm sorry. I will not let you speak right now. I'm going to go across to Kamal Sibbal. No, Rohan Gupta, I'll come back to you. I will come back to you, sir. Let me go across to Kamal Sibbal. And Mr. Sibbal, isn't it a tragedy that instead of debating on whether there is a case to relook at the Indo-Pak dialogue and what the framework of the dialogue should be, the entire issue has been hijacked by one innocuous hug? I mean, Imran Khan, who's no longer Imran Khan only, he is the elected Prime Minister of Pakistan, is having to put out a tweet justifying Sidhu's actions.
Well, look, there are a couple of things that I'd like to say. You raised the issue, or somebody raised the issue earlier that when Modi had gone to Pakistan and he had hugged Nawaz Sharif, etc., etc. One is that government has a policy. In the light of that policy, they take certain actions which are required at the diplomatic and the political level. They are in control of the agenda, and they have to see that if no results are produced, they will step back, as has happened. Let me give you a parallel. Trump has reached out to the North Korean dictator. Now, because of that, let's say a very prominent Democratic politician goes and hugs Kim Il-jong. How would the American public react? Or, for example, Trump has imposed these draconian sanctions on Iran, and an opposition politician from the United States goes and hugs the president of Iran. How would that look? Now, you see, you have to look at the thing objectively. Therefore, that is one point. The other is that it is not an innocuous hug. He is hugging the Prime Minister of Pakistan or General Bajwa, which means that he is conveying a signal that whatever the government of India may think of you, whatever the BJP government may think of you, I think you are a wonderful fellow, and he has lavished enormous praise on him, and he's brought in the caste and religious questions by saying he's a Jat like I am, and Sidhus are Jats also, and that they talked about the Kartarpur corridor, so injecting another element, highly sensitive political element into the situation. So it was not innocuous at all. He is actually conveying in his own way that government of India, the BJP, the Prime Minister government should also get into the mode of hugging Pakistan and hugging the Prime Minister and hugging General Bajwa. This is absolutely wrong. This was very foolish on his part, and I think it was a bit of a buffoonery, if you ask me, because he's gone on and dug himself deeper into the hole more and more by making all kinds of statements. So I don't know what is pushing him, whether it is self-projection or propaganda or being in the limelight. Okay. But it's very unfortunate that he's creating unnecessary confusion. And lastly, I would like to say that
Sure.
Imran Khan should not have waded into this internal controversy here in Pakistan, in India, by saying that he's an ambassador of peace. Well, why would he want to do that? He should have just left the issue alone and let it be sorted out politically, internally within India, rather than taking sides. I think it was rather foolish on his part.
Okay. Mr. Sibal there, a former diplomat, saying that it was buffoonery on the part of Sidhu and that Imran Khan should not have waded into this issue. Let's bring on board Meher Tarar. Meher, Imran today says that those who are targeting Sidhu are doing a disservice to peace in the subcontinent. He also says the best way to alleviate poverty is to resolve differences through dialogue. Now, I'm sure no one's going to dispute the substance of what he's saying, but given the history of false starts, the question that everyone in India is going to ask is, can India really take him at face value?
I hope all of you understand that I don't represent the government. I'm just speaking as a normal, regular citizen of Pakistan.
Sure.
Mr. Sidhu came to Pakistan in the capacity of a friend of Imran Khan. He also invited Sunil Gavaskar and Kapil Dev, who unfortunately couldn't make it. Now, he's in a room full of people, and he's sitting there, and the Chief of Army Staff of Pakistan, approaches him, and you think Mr. Sidhu actually planned that, okay, this man is going to come in, and I'm going to hug him, or he's going to hug me. Obviously, it's just, we are Punjabis. This is how people greet one another. And as far as I can look at it, I thought it was, other than Imran Khan becoming the Prime Minister of Pakistan, of course, we were overjoyed to see that. But this was before the actual oath-taking ceremony. I thought it was one of the best things I'd ever seen. That finally Pakistan was doing what Pakistan should have done a long time ago. There are Chief of Army Staff. Okay, yes, this was a personal visit of an Indian, but of course our COS knew that the whole world was watching him. Whole world meaning people who are interested in Pakistan and India must be watching this. So obviously, it was a very conscious thing to do. He stood there, he talked to him, he talked about opening the Kartarpur, I'm sorry if I'm saying the name wrong, corridor on the 550th birth anniversary of Nana Sahab. I thought it was brilliant. This is exactly what we need. This Chief of Army Staff has been saying non-stop that Pakistan Army wants peace with India. And for once, somebody was actually walking the talk. For some people, it would be, I don't know what was going through their minds, but as a Pakistani citizen who watches Pakistan-India politics, diplomatic, nothing, very, very attentively, it was wonderful. And the fact that Pakistanis cheered it, one, because it happened at the oath-taking ceremony of an elected Prime Minister who's not just popular in Pakistan, but is also very popular in your country because of his cricket thing, cricket career. And so if the Chief of Army Staff is going there and saying that we want peace and we want to do better things, that means that they are ready to actually do what they are saying. All these things, that unfortunate, very unfortunate things that happen at the LOC and people dying on both sides, if statements like these become public, that means the onus of a lot of things would be on Pakistan's army. You can't really, it's not, to me, he wasn't talking to an Indian guest of Imran Khan. He was talking to India as far as I see it. But to blame Mr. Sidhu for getting a hug.
Meher Tarar, right. No, Meher Tarar, give me a minute, because you make an important point there that this should be seen as a piece of virtue, given the fact that the Pak Army Chief is talking about, having a dialogue, bringing peace with India. I'm going to take this question to Maruf Reza. How optimistic are you, Maruf, and how positive are you that Imran Khan can be taken on face value?
I'll be very honest, experience tells me not to be too positive and not to be too optimistic. I'd be cautiously optimistic. Let me also sort of make a couple of points. One is based on what all your guests have said. Quite clearly, I think Mr. Sidhu has got himself more than the required airtime being discussed across the board in all channels. I mean, whatever he's done and whatever he shouldn't have done, I think that's been torn to shreds. What is more important is, I think, the message that Mr. Imran Khan gave and how Prime Minister Modi responded. Mr. Modi's message and Prime Minister Imran Khan's messages both carried a catchword. Mr. Modi's catchword was that the region should be free of terror, and Imran Khan's catchword was dialogue, but Kashmir should figure in it. So these are the basic negotiating positions of both sides, and experience tells me that, you know, India and Pakistan, whenever they meet, they deliberate endlessly, just trying to get this sorted out, whether the Kashmir is a dispute or an issue or whatever. What we really need to do is that we need to draw up a list of positives and negatives, and also identify the stumbling blocks which are not going to let things happen. Let me give you a couple of examples. One is that I think there is room for trade. Nawaz Sharif was keen on trade with India, but this led to a certain degree of suspicion about his intentions, and you've seen what happened to him. Now, there is an idea that is being proposed by the Foreign Office in India that we could be looking at land movement of vehicles from Punjab into Afghanistan via Pakistan through a corridor, but I don't think it's early days. I don't think it's going to happen that easily. More importantly, I think we're expecting too much out of Mr. Imran Khan within the first week. He's got much bigger challenges. The economy needs immediate attention. He's got himself a very capable finance minister, but I don't think he's going to be able to turn it around in 6 months or 1 year.
Sure.
He's got to address the black hole that America has dug for Pakistan and diplomatically. And most importantly, he has to address certain issues that India has been harping on. What are you doing about terrorists? They have now been legitimized by mainstreaming them into Pakistani politics.
Okay.
So unless he addresses those issues, I think talks is a no-no.
Okay. Maruf taking the view that unless concrete steps are taken to address India's concerns on terror, talks is a clear no-no. But Kamal Sibal, how are you reading the overtures made by India at the highest level? I mean, you know, while we don't have the letter written by Prime Minister Modi to Prime Minister Imran Khan has not been made public, but despite all the noises, all the rhetoric and all that the BJP spokesperson said in a press conference today, Prime Minister Modi has himself reached out. You know, the Indian ambassador in Pakistan met, Prime Minister Imran Khan with an autographed bag carrying, with autographs of all Indian cricketers. Prime Minister Modi has written to Pakistan, Prime Minister Imran Khan, insisting, indicating that there is a case for dialogue. And in some sense, isn't that the right thing to do? Use this sort of fresh start as an opportunity to move ahead.
Well, a couple of things. One is that there is always room in diplomacy for diplomatic gestures and niceties and protocol. And when a new Prime Minister takes over in Pakistan, it is perfectly normal that there should be a message that goes from our side. After all, despite the fact that we have a very difficult relationship, in fact an adversarial relationship, we have ambassadors operating in both countries. We have full diplomatic relations, and the dialogue at the level of ambassadors is being carried on at the official level, and also with economic and political and security and other circles in Pakistan and India, because the ambassador goes and meets these people. That is one. The other is that I think it was quite wise on Prime Minister's part to have sent this letter, because it is absolutely necessary for two reasons: not to allow Pakistan to gain diplomatic advantage by saying we are ready to talk, but India is not ready to do so. And in other words, project India as unwilling to engage in a dialogue, and then make the further point that, and everybody sort of accepts that kind of a, feel-good statement that you can't resolve issues without dialogue. So therefore, he's in a sense put the ball back in Pakistan's court to say, I'm ready for a constructive arrangement, but we should work together for a region free of terror and violence. Now, on the other side, there is absolutely no reference to terrorism, and they are continuing to harp on the Kashmir issue. and resolution of the Kashmir issue. And I was a bit taken aback at the very hardline statement by the new foreign minister of Pakistan, where actually he threatened India with nuclear weapons. He says, you know, we should not engage in any adventurism. Nobody should engage in adventurism, only even inadvertent adventurism, because we are both nuclear powers, and whether we wish it or not, Kashmir is a central issue. It has to be resolved. It's a very hardline posture. It doesn't give any space to our side to engage Pakistan in any dialogue. And thirdly, you know, we all forget that we've been having a dialogue with Pakistan, a structured dialogue since 1996. That is, 22 years have gone by, and you've seen the kind of dialogue that has taken place, joint statements that have been issued, where we have actually gone ahead and delinked terrorism from dialogue. And now, of course, the foreign minister of Pakistan says that, you know, it should be unconditional, uninterrupted. But for heaven's sake, you start the dialogue and tomorrow there's another terrorist attack, then what will happen? It will get interrupted. So is the Pakistani argument that we will talk, we'll continue to talk, but we'll have a free hand when it comes to terrorist attacks, which we will promote and provoke from our side to keep you under pressure when we are negotiating. So these are very unhelpful positions they are taking, and it does not open the room for any dialogue, and we should remain very firm that unless they take credible steps on terrorism, we cannot create the conditions for a dialogue.
Right. I'm just going to take this across to the BJP spokesperson, Mr. Chaudhary. And Mr. Chaudhary, what explains, you know, there is one double standard on the side of Pakistan, and we've got to stay firm, no terror, and, you know, that can't be done away with before we begin talks. But what about the other double standard on our side of the border? On one hand, we've got the Prime Minister reaching out to Imran Khan, and like Kamal Sibal says, rightly so. We can't let Pakistan score over us diplomatically. But at the same time, you've got the Indian High Commissioner, Mr. Basaria, call on Imran Khan with a cricket bat autographed by the entire Indian cricket team. And then you've got folks in New Delhi and members from your party spewing venom. I mean, how do you justify the two stances? I don't get it. The Prime Minister is writing a letter. The MEA has authorized the High Commissioner to go give the gift of an autograph bat for Imran Khan. And then you've got people in New Delhi talking all kinds of, saying all kinds of things.
I don't see any dichotomy or any contradiction between two. Government is doing its job, our diplomats, they are doing their job, and party is doing its job. These two are not contradictory. These are the gestures we have always extended to Pakistan whenever there was a right occasion. But it doesn't mean that we are starting from a position of weakness or we are trying to compromise anything of the national interest. It was Congress. In fact, Mr. Sibal will recollect that in 2009 at Sharm el Sheikh, Mr. Manmohan Singh, who has actually signed a joint declaration with then Pakistan Prime Minister, which actually says that terror and talk can go together. And that was the weakest point or lowest point in diplomacy as far as India-Pakistan relations are concerned from Indian side. Now, BJP as well as Prime Minister Modi's government has taken very clear stand that terror and the talks cannot go together, and therefore, even in their congratulatory message, Prime Minister Modi has rightly said that the region should be free of terror, which essentially means that whatever if we want to talk, if there is a talk, it will be on terror and nothing more at the time being. So, we are talking from a position of strength. Whatever actions we are doing is from the position of strength, and not that surrendering to Pakistan by criticizing, if you take a criticism of Mr. Sidhu that we are a large nation and a small heart. This is actually an insult of all Indians. And for his information, and because I have little medical knowledge also, let me say that there is a condition, medical condition called cardiomegaly, which means you have a large heart but is not enough good enough to pump blood.
Mr.
to
Chauthai
circulate
Wale,
in the
let's not
body.
make this personal,
So
sir.
the people
I take your point, but let's not
Sidhu
make
are
this personal.
actually,
And I don't think we need to give those comments or Sidhu importance beyond what it deserves. I think one of our panelists said, I mean, you know, yeah, let's not give him more publicity than he deserves. But Rohan Gupta, I won't let you respond, but with a simple question to you. What is the Congress party's view other than criticizing the BJP for whatever it does? If it's if it takes a hawkish position, you're going to be critical of that. If it makes an attempt to restart dialogue, you're going to be critical of that. What is the Congress party's view? Should the government of the day restart, make an attempt or reciprocate this gesture of the Pakistani leadership and kickstart dialogue? Or do you believe we should, you know, stick to our position? No, you know, as long as there is no comprehensive crackdown on terror, there should be no talks, which is what both Kamal Sibal and Maruf Raza are pointing out on the show today.
See, first of all, Congress party is very clear. Whatever BJP wants to do, whether they want to follow a strong policy or they want to go into dialogue, it's their prerogative. But they cannot do flip-flop. On day one, they are talking that we'll be engaging dialogue. Next day, they will say, no, we will show Lal Aankh and Chappan Inch to Pakistan. These are flip-flop. The country is confused today. Kabhi naram, kabhi garam. The foreign policy cannot go like that. After 4.5 years, when people have voted Mr. Modi with thumping majority, country expected him that at least he will do something for the country. At least he'll do something on the front of Pakistan. But today, what we are doing? After 4.5 years, BJP spokesperson is talking about Congress. Come on, Congress is not in power. You are in power. You have to answer the country. Why is it not the insult that the Prime Minister went and met Nawaz Sharif and eat his biryani? It is not insult that ISI was invited to India in Pathankot probe. It is not insult that you are sending the bet signed with all the players to Pakistan. It is not insult of India when you are writing love letter to Prime Minister. No, please allow me to complete. Don't interrupt. What I'm saying is, this is not the time.
You can complete,
this
but
is
don't
the
get
time.
personal.
No, you
don't
please
use the
allow me
language
to
that you're
complete.
using. I don't appreciate
you
of it.
Cut my point. You don't speak in between, right? You always speak in between when I speak. This is not done. Please allow me to complete. My only point.
Okay, finish your point.
When you are
finish
in
your
power,
point.
You are answerable
Finish your
to
point.
country. What you have done in the case of foreign policy, you cannot use foreign policy for your vote bank politics locally. You are using Pakistan to win elections in India, and when it comes to taking action, you are sending love letter. This cannot happen. You have to talk what you are speaking. You have to talk the walk. You cannot do like this. This is insult to the country.
Okay,
What are you
Rohan
doing?
Gupta, you
What
will have to
message you are
stop there.
sending to Pakistan?
I'm sorry. Rohan Gupta, no, Rohan Gupta, 1 second. You've spoken enough. Now I will speak for a minute before I go to my other guest. I have to go to Meher Tarar, but I will tell you a thing or two about this show. We do a show in a very civil manner. I will let you speak, but I will not let you make personal comments, just like I did not appreciate the personal comment that Mr. Vijay made about Sidhu and the medical condition that he spoke about. You keep talking about biryani. There was a menu shared with you. The Prime Minister is why do you keep talking this language? This is not the language you should be speaking about, an elected representative who represents India. So please don't use this language once again in your arguments. I am telling you now. I'm going to Meher Tarar next. No elected Prime Minister Meher in Pakistan has been permitted to complete a full term. They've all ended up either being exiled or jailed or killed. In Benazir Bhutto's case, all three. What will be the boundaries for Imran Khan's peace of virtues? That's really the big question that many of us in India wonder.
I mean, I was going to comment on somebody's tweet.
It's 21 hours.
This word love letter that has been used by many people in your country, I think that's very unfair. Your Prime Minister writing to our Prime Minister, that's the way, you know, diplomacy goes. And we appreciate that he wrote a letter to Prime Minister Pakistan, and we don't consider him a love letter, consider it a love letter. The thing is, Pakistan, Imran Khan's entire 22 years of politics, he's been very, very clear about certain things. He does not want war within Pakistan, outside Pakistan. He has never, ever been part of any what should I say? I mean, he has never condoned bombing of any country. He's never condoned bombing of Pakistan without taking, the Fatah region, Waziristan region, when Pakistan had to fight militants on its own soil. But he has been very clear that that there should be no civilian loss. He has always been very, very critical of American policy of droning Pakistan and Afghanistan without taking into consideration how many people, innocent people, died. I really believe that, I mean, as I said, I have never seen an elected Prime Minister talk about India the day he won the election. then he must have invited other people. Other people. There were other guests of Imran Khan at that oath-taking ceremony. The only people Pakistanis were talking about, the ones who came from India, because everybody was very happy about that, and that's the only way I'm going to look at it. And I just want to give you this example that I've never seen something like this in Pakistan. There's this person, Javed Afridi. He owns one of the teams of Pakistan, cricket league, and it's called Peshawar Zalmi. And he tweeted earlier that he's very upset about what is happening in Kerala, and there's a fresh new air in Pakistan, but we are hearing some sad news from Kerala, India. Millions have been displaced by floods, and from Peshawar Zalmi and Foundations Army, we would like to donate 5,000 tents and basic medical supplies for Kerala floods. I'm not saying that India needs help from Pakistan, but I have never seen a prominent Pakistani, who's also a friend of Imran Khan, who was sitting in the second row at the oath-taking ceremony, says this, and this one has come from Shahid Afridi, that he's deeply saddened by what has happened in Kerala, and his foundation stands for the people of Kerala.
Allow me to interrupt you. What you're saying is that the climate of hate is being replaced by climate of hope, which could trigger, trigger better relations between India and Pakistan, which we should all welcome. I take that point, Meher Tarar. Allow me to interrupt you there. Let me get in Maruf Raza very quickly. Maruf, what does Imran Khan need to do to convince Indian establishment, Indian people of his sincerity to crack down on terror? Both you and Kanwal Sibal pointed out that is a precondition to dialogue. That has been India's stated position for years now. What does he need to do to convince his sincerity? Meher spoke about the fact that he is a peace-loving leader of Pakistan. What does he need to do to convince citizens of India and the political establishment that he means it?
You see, Imran Khan has a lot going for him. Apart from being a national hero and a sporting hero, I've been reading Ms. Meher Tarar's pieces, so I have some idea of the fact that she does stand very strongly for many of his values, including his integrity and his personal commitment to ideals, etc. But the fact is that, the biggest advantage that Imran Khan has today, which in recent memory very few prime ministers have had, that he is very closely supported by the army. Now, whether we go by the allegations of the opposition in Pakistan that he was propped up by the army, or whether we just go by the assumption that he has good relations with the army, it is a very important factor both for a prime minister's long tenure and for the prime minister to tread softly on the Indo-Pak turf, which is the Pakistan Army's territory. The second thing is that Pakistan does have one or two very focused groups that operate largely on an anti-Indian agenda, Lashkar-e-Toiba and Jaish-e-Mohammed being there. But Pakistan has many other groups that are running wild within Pakistan. Both Imran Khan and the Pakistan Army Chief, for their own reasons and their own good, would do well to at least confront them if they don't want to confront the troops and the groups that are poised and placed on the Indo-Pak border, because the international community is watching very carefully. So Imran Khan just doesn't have to convince us. He has to convince the entire world that this is the new Pakistan, and the Naya Pakistan would be both economically resilient and one which is a state which turns from a security state to a democratic state, which is what many Indians wish Pakistan is. But we make constantly one mistake in history. We view Pakistan from an Indian prism and assume that there is an elected prime minister and he has the same sweeping authority on foreign policy and security policy as the Indian prime minister does. We are asking too much out of Imran Khan. I think you'll have to give him time. We'll have to wait and watch, and we'll have to as Pakistan Army ex-Chief General Kayani once say, we have to not just see the intention, but we also have to see what translates onto the ground.
Okay. Maruf, you make a very important point there, that he does not have a sweeping hold over foreign policy and many other decisions. I'm going to take a bit of an audacious question with you, Mr. Sibal. Should India's ultimate aim then be to engage with the Pak army and not put too much effort with the civilian leadership? Because it's quite clear that peace will come only when there is insistence of the army and not when it is defied even by the elected government in Pakistan?
Look, what you are not saying is that after having lauded the democratic process in Pakistan, which Prime Minister Modi conveyed in his message, then we say, look, you know, this is just a facade, this is not real, this is not a democratic election, it's the army that is behind it, that's the real power, let's talk to the armed forces. So how can we go over the head of the civilian government and go and start talking to the armed forces? This is simply not practical or possible. There are people who have made the argument that United States and China, they deal with the Pakistan army. But does the Pakistan army have fear an existential threat from China or United States? Do they have this long-standing enmity towards these two countries, or do they want to seek a revenge for anything against them? Do they consider themselves as the defender and the protector of Pakistani ideology when they have relations with China or United States? But all these issues come into play in relationship with India. That is the first point. Second is that, of course, we have dealt directly with the Pakistani armed forces. We dealt with Ziaul Haq, we dealt with Ayub Khan, we dealt with General Musharraf when they were both the head of state as well as former chiefs of army staff. So we were therefore directly in touch with people who combined both civilian and military power. And what happened? Nothing happened. So this is just a fantasy that we can. And the third, of course, is it looks very odd for a civilian government in India to talk to the military people in Pakistan. Yes, the military can talk to the military, but not the civilian to the Pakistani military. The other point I'd like to, if you give me half a minute,
sure,
which is that Imran Khan has known extremist links. It is not by accident that he earned the sobriquet of Taliban Khan. And he's been defending the Taliban, he's been blaming the United States entirely for what is happening in Pakistan. In his election, he had strong support from the extremist elements. Now the question was asked, what is it that he can do in order to prove his credentials to us? First, actually seriously deal with Hafiz Saeed. Number two, try those who were responsible for the Mumbai attacks of 2008 and put serious curbs on Jaish-e-Mohammed and everybody else. But
right.
I can guarantee you he will not be able to do that. He won't do that because he's not focusing on terrorism at all.
Okay.
He's only focusing on a dialogue. And lastly, he knows that there is a constituency for a dialogue in India with Pakistan, and he is actually trying to do his best in order to give oxygen to this
constituency for a dialogue.
To this constituency in India, so that they put pressure on the government to start a dialogue with Pakistan.
Okay, I take that point. Kanwal Sibal there pointing out, flagging off the risks that we face and what Imran Khan needs to do to lend more credibility to this peace overture, if we were to call it one. Now, I need to take a very quick break here, and I urge this wonderful panel, Meher Tarar, Kanwal Sibal, Maruf Raza, Vijay Chathaiwale and Rohan Gupta to stay with us. We're going to take a short break. When we come back, we will talk about the small steps that could be taken. Will they really make a difference before we take the giant leap forward? Can we take some small steps? Is trade an option to look at? What else? Cricket, should we look at that? Student exchange programs, what is it that we can do to change the environment of hate, if at all? We'll come back and talk about that in just a moment. Do stay with us in the India Development Debate right here on ET Now.
Great to be back with you once again on the India Development Debate, and I can't thank this wonderful panel for patiently staying with us. We'll carry this forward, and I'll come to the BJP spokesperson, Mr. Chathaiwale. And Mr. Chathaiwale, for peace, goodwill gestures are required. They need to precede peace. Instead of the giant leaps, why can India not look at small, calibrated steps? It can be student exchange, it can be resumption of sport activities, movement of musicians and actors, sick people coming from across the border for treatment. I mean, why can't these very simple things be done? In fact, the new PCB chief today just said that Imran Khan is keen to resume cricket ties. Shouldn't India take the lead in this?
See, no activity or steps in between India and Pakistan relation should be done only for the sake of doing it. It has to achieve some objective, and that objective should be very clear that the Pakistan has to work on the terrorist outfit present in their soil, and unless that happens, that all these gestures, even if we continue, are going to be fruitless, and after 1 year we will sit in the same debate and ask the question that okay, we have done so far all these things, what is the outcome? So, where is the outcome? And outcome is in Pakistan's court. They are not willing to talk on terror, they are not ready to take actions on the terrorist outfit who are openly chanting destroy India chants from their soil, and you want to do all these small measures. So, they are fruitless measures unless there is a larger objective and larger plan.
You making your position very clear. Again, what one doesn't know whether to see this in the context of other sort of diplomatic niceties, as Kanwal Sibal rightly put it, that India has taken. But Rohan Gupta, would you agree with the BJP's position that we should not take these sort of easy, simple, easy, small steps like resumption of cricket maybe, or allowing exchange programs, allowing musicians to travel across the border, that such steps should not be taken until and unless the political establishment in India is convinced of Pakistan's sincerity of crackdown on terror? And please answer direct question. Let's not go back into blame game.
What policy to be adopted? It is to be decided by. It is to be decided by BJP, right? It is Modi government which has to decide. My only point which I have been making since the beginning of this debate is there has to be consistency. You cannot do flip-flop. If you want to show Lala, please do that. Continue doing and get some results for the country. Why you are writing letter to Pakistan then? Why you have to go there and eat biryani? Why you have to call ISI? So there is if you see this government, there is a flip-flop in their policy. There is no consistency. If you see Jammu Kashmir, they were with PDP for 3 years. They left this government with the reason that they were not allowed to take strong action against terrorism and Pakistan. What's happening on ground? As an Indian, forget I am a spokesperson of a party. As an Indian, I am asking simple question to Modi Sarkar. With the promises what you made to this country that we should not write love letters. These were his words. And now today, after 4.5 years, he is writing the love letter. He is talking about meaningful engagement. What does he mean by meaningful engagement? He is not able to create enough pressure on Pakistan, whether at international level or whether on a diplomatic level. When it comes to India, when it comes to speeches of Delhi, he speaks about Pakistan. There is no other place he can do anything about Pakistan. This government is a big diplomatic failure as far as Pakistan policy is concerned, and the government must answer to the country what they have done for this. Because they don't have any answer.
Okay.
Today they will write love letter again.
Okay.
Tomorrow they will say that no,
I
we
am
will
going
not engage
to.
with
All
Pakistan.
right.
There is no consistency.
There are no love letters. Rohan Gupta ji, Rohan Gupta, my objection to the words that are being used by politicians on this show is very simple. I mean, you've got a person joining us from across the border. We've said it. What is this love letter business? Mr. Modi must have said it. He was wrong to say it then. To keep quoting him again and to say it again two wrongs don't make a right, is all I'm trying to simply say, and I hope our politicians learn from that.
What?
Mr. Kanwal Sibal, MEA needs to work on options that, one second. MEA perhaps needs to work on options that can be implemented without, of course, compromising on our ask of Pak giving up on terror. I'm presuming in a run-up to 2019 elections, we will perhaps not see much action on the ground, but, the diplomats and the bureaucracy needs to keep work going. Am I right there?
Well, it isn't that in the past we haven't taken many of the steps that were being mentioned. The small steps, even cricket matches, musicians being exchanged and stuff like that. It went on for years, and terrorism was also continuing, and yet the steps were not taken to stop all that till, of course, Mumbai happened and this and that, which was a huge setback. But earlier on, the Congress spokesperson spoke about flip-flops. In actual fact, if you go back in the history of India-Pakistan relations, all governments have been guilty of flip-flops, because Pakistan is an intractable problem. And our prime ministers, whoever they are, have been trying all sorts of ways, engagement, lack of engagement, responding forcefully to what the Pakistanis are doing, and then drawing back and resuming dialogue. Let us not forget that within 8 months of the Mumbai terror attack, we resumed dialogue with Pakistan. So one should not unnecessarily make points, political points, and of this nature. Now, supposing we go ahead and do some of the things that are being recommended that should be done, and we have another terror attack, then what does one do? Again, we'll go back to the same situation. And then again, these things cannot happen if the killings are going on the line of control, when there is firing going on, when there is infiltration going on, when there is Pakistan promoting terrorism in Jammu and Kashmir. So one has to look at the whole situation in its totality, and that's where the problem is.
Okay.
That while on the face of it, logically, what is being said does make sense, that we can have more people-to-people contacts, but these people-to-people contacts will end soon as there is a terrorist attack, and if violence and terrorism on the line of control continues.
Sure. I take that point. Closing comments to you first, Maruf, and then I'm going to let Meher Tarar have the last word. But Maruf, let's put this in context. We've got an election coming up in a few months from now. Is it foolhardy to expect any substantial move? I mean, will the Indian political establishment risk doing anything sort of substantial right now before election 2019? Do you see this establishment invest or stake political capital in a bold move in the just ahead of 2019 elections?
Well, that is the general view, but my view is different. I believe that, if the government is in power, it's in a seat of authority, then it has to exercise authority. If it's so focused on elections, then it should step aside and put a caretaker government out there who can run the business of India, and they can get on with winning the next elections. So I think that's wrong to assume just because elections are looming 6 or 8 months around the corner, we're going to stop doing anything else but just doing election politics. Now, I want to address two issues that have been brought up. One by the Congress spokesperson. He keeps referring to love letter. He keeps referring to Congress, Mr. Modi eating biryani. Firstly, I don't think Mr. Modi is a biryani eater. But anyway, even if that is used just as an analogy to try and say getting too close to Pakistanis, please remember that it was Asif Zardari and many Pakistani ministers who were offered biryani by Prime Minister Manmohan Singh when he came to visit India and Ajmer. So the fact is that no party has covered itself with glory in dealing with Pakistan, least so the UPA and the Congress, and the whole list of political and diplomatic blunders are there for any historian to see. I just want to go on to the other bigger point which was asked by Mr. Sibal. While I agree with most of his assertions, and I've been reading him with interest, but the fact is twofold. One is that to say that you cannot engage with the Pakistan army when you have an elected government out there, I mean, I think the patron saint of democracies, the United States, always engages more with the Pakistan army than with the elected government, because they are the ones who wield the rooster as far as 5 or 6 areas go. India-Pakistan relations, Afghanistan, China, nuclear issues, United States, etc. So the fact is that if you want any movement forward, and historically, there have only been 2 or 3 arrangements with Pakistan that have stood the test of time. Right. Even the great Mr. Vajpayee's effort to go to Lahore and the document.
Maruf, I will have to come in very quickly. Okay, Maruf, I'm sorry, I'll have to come in there because we're really running out of time here. Okay, Maruf, I'm sorry, I'll have to come in there. I'll have to go across to Meher Tarar. And Meher, politicians on both sides have thrived on spreading hatred. How difficult is it going to be both for Mr. Modi here in India and Imran Khan in Pakistan to make case for peace to their respective domestic constituencies? Please be brief. I've really run out of time here on the show.
One, just very briefly, not a single religious extremist party has supported Imran Khan or vice versa in this election. Then none of them have been successful in the elections. Let me make that very clear. All of them have been defeated by, mainstream parties. Two, Pakistani public is very happy that Pakistan now has a prime minister who's talking about peace and friendship with India so openly and so consistently. And the most important thing, since all these people, especially Mr. Sidhu Mr. Raza, they know the history of this region much more than I do. Look at the comments that were made by General Pervez Musharraf on your channels, in Pakistani channels all over the world, and look at what this Chief of Army Staff is saying. There's a world of difference. He's saying it very openly that he wants peace with Pakistan. So has a Prime Minister who wants peace, and has a Chief of Army Staff who wants peace, and has the people of Pakistan who want peace with India. So let's give it a chance. Yes, talk is cheap. I respect everybody's opinion here. I know you have a lot of doubts and suspicions vis-a-vis Pakistan, but let's give this government a bit of time. And I hope wonderful things happen between the two countries, because, as we all say, there's a lot we can do with one another in terms of good stuff. So I would like to leave it at that. That's very optimistic.
Fair point. Right. Okay, on that note, thank you very, very much for joining us right here on ET Now, and everybody who's going to be celebrating the wonderful festival of Bakrid tomorrow, have plenty of biryani, have my share too, is all I will say. But thank you very much, Meher Tarar, Kamal Sibal, Maruf Raza, Mr. Chautawali, and of course, Rohan Gupta for joining us right here on the India Development Debate.
That's right, peace in the subcontinent is paramount for all our prosperity. War has never in the history of this world accrued any benefit to anyone. One hopes Pakistan can finally walk the talk under Imran Khan, but no dialogue, like our experts pointed out, can happen unless sponsored terror is put to rest.
Focus has to be on eliminating terror. Warmongers on both sides will hold us back, but both India and Pakistan need to put the ghosts of the past behind to usher in a new tomorrow. Aman ki Asha, like they say, to karni hi padegi. Thank you very much for being with us.
Good night.